Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Fed announcement day. Gonna just stay on for a few minutes. And no, I'm not calling out trades. Why? I've seen what people do with it before. They think it can be a no loss, or hey, why don't I just go heavy because I have somebody else who's an expert or considered knowledgeable calling something out. It can't be a loser. It might not be a loser. Let me do something stupid with my money. I don't think that's responsible. I've seen it with Bob before in the past. People do crazy things, and I'm not going to be a part of that. I'd rather teach you how to do stuff. Connor, let's go. Hello, George. Hey, Jake, welcome. And evening, Anissa. Thank you for the super chat. Evening again. Hello, Lauren. And I won't be able to stay around for the press conference. And I need to watch that anyways. And we could have multiple pivots during that. Now remember, the first move, especially when we have a critical press conference, can be reversed in the press conference. What I like to do also, I do not have my trading platform open on this. If you see me turn away, it is open on my other computer. Okay. I'm not live streaming with my platform open. I've shared my account number before, which is a huge no-no on YouTube. If you're ever live streaming, make sure you do not share your account number. Then you have to jump through hoops. I always make sure my charts are set up. Also, my trading dome with things, and I have automatic stops go in, emergency stops with my executions for market moving events this way. So the moment I hit a buy or sell, I have a emergency stop order automatically placed based off my position sizing and my volatility calculations. So if something happens or you get the major whipsaw moves, the sudden reversals, I make sure that a stop is in that market. Okay? So I don't have to worry about entering a thing and then going back and entering a stop. I only have to worry about, well, not really worry, but fine tuning my stop level. You see, I've just set up my stuff the same as here, but I have my key things already set up on my chart. I prefer, if I'm going to trade a Fed announcement or any other major volatility thing, to trade the S&P versus the Nasdaq. It's got a little less whipsaw and more depth. You see, I have my key levels. So short term, right here, I have it just so happened tag that level. So I have this level up here that I'm watching for the short term break. That's my key breakout. You get a warning sign on a breakdown below about 38.84. Majors more 38.70. See, also I have channels. Should we run down? I have harmonics and channels to the downside. I have a channel to the upside, but the key level, that's a warning sign. But the key area, prior support, confirmed resistance, and a harmonic. So we should be coming in right in on it. All right, I don't normally live stream during these things, but this is where we're going to go. Expecting the upside break, but it looks like right now this is noise to me. This is in my noise range. I'm not going to react to stuff like this because we're just going to get whips. I'm trying to catch the bigger move. Okay? And I don't even need to watch a 1 minute chart. We're still within. If you jump back out here and somebody else can put in what's going on, I have to look. It's a 75 basis point hike. Now I'm watching for a retest of this 38.70. You can go down in time frame. I don't even need to. I'm going to be looking at my trading dome also, trying to operate multiple things, but it's a 75 basis point, which is what we've expected. You can even go down to a tick chart. Now I want to make sure this holds and is not the fake out. All right, we just had momentum to the downside. So it is, well, guess you know what I'm doing right now. Hold on. And now we like to, when I get to stuff like this, we got the momentum break to the downside. I haven't seen the dot plot yet. I'm looking for the, I got to scan through stuff. It's too confusing on multiple computers. But now it's breaking part of the position off. So it's covering part of the shorts and getting a stop back to break even. Back to entry. Why? If we get another bounce in a reversal move, I don't want to be in this thing short anymore. So it's unwinding into the weakness. We got the key breakdown below that 3870 area. And then we didn't break down below the current lows, and now we're bouncing back up. All right. Can see here, and now we're reversing among this level. So if we get another rollover back below about 38.63, from my perspective, it can be a reshort attempt. Other than that, not touching the long side. Now I will be watching, since we have broken down. Thank you for putting that in. 12-0 vote. See, we still, now I have a new little minor level. It expanded the range, but that's my new key level if you're trying to trade this on the very short term. Within that, let me zoom out. See, we're still in a key range. We haven't really done much yet. We have not broken below key lows. The reason you can take a shot, and the reason I like to unwind and then get stopped to break even, fine. Then if it goes to new lows, you have a position you can always add, and you, or just manage your position. Right now, it's still within the range. All right, nothing. This is nothing to me, because we have not broken key support. The resistance I had up earlier, the 3,900 resistance, is still major resistance. We're back below. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. All right. So we're back below. Now I'm going to watch for to see if this can hold and retest this lower area. There still is pretty decent selling pressure. I can't even pay attention to a lot of other stuff. I will glance in on the NASDAQ, but we do not have any buying pressure yet at all. So on the second breakdown from here, I am now watching for a retest of this key low area, which is my 38.47 to 38.43. There is still major buying pressure down here. I got to watch multiple things. I got to keep turning away. I'm not even looking at the yield curve on this stuff. I am just, there we go. Finally. All right. Now, you see how we got to be patient. Sometimes it's this little secondary move. Now we're testing this key area. So now everything up, there we go. Okay, now we're getting to some push down plays. We should get some key, a little pressure in here. You see here, we're back below these most recent lows. So now, and remember I said if we do break down, just a little recap because now it's just managing stuff. Remember all these wicks? We're going to have to judge the press conference next, but all these people now are going to be trapped who said it was a no-brainer to buy. So we're going to possibly get some stop hunting down here. Now, right now, ratcheting, you can ratchet down a stop, and now this is key resistance. It has not been able to push through substantially yet. 38.57 is now key resistance area. Key resistance, yes, you have shorter term resistance down here at 38.48, but that's now my key resistance area. A lot of this, when it gets to short-term tape reading, is just reading the tape and looking at the market depth and looking at the trading. There actually isn't as much buying pressure in here just yet, so it's just riding a position and just ratcheting down a stop at this point. Because again, in 25 minutes we have the FOMC press conference with Powell, which is what is more important. Still, we got a little more buying pressure coming in here. So if we pop back above this 38.57.50 to 38.50, then it's back to, from my perspective, it's sit on hands unless we do it with a ton of momentum. A ton of momentum, then I would retarget a return to 38.84. Other than that, it's just managing current positions. All right. And this can be ridden into a press conference as long as riding a stop down. We're getting a nice breather, but it's still, this is where it helps to keep everything in mind. So we've retested. We've had this break. All right, you got a lot of people trapped down here, but it hasn't been able to decisively break yet. Decisively break. Thank you for the super chat, Lauren. Which is why also I like to, you get something on, you get your stops. Worst case, you take something off, unless you just get the power flush move. We did not get a power flush move. So now it's just managing remaining position stops. And don't be afraid of, hey, if you get stopped out at break even or slightly better than break even, done again. You're done. You can then wait for press conference volatility to see how we go. We're getting the buying pressure. If we now hold back above about 38.57, going to be watching for the return to 38.84. Overall, we're still getting the dip buyers in here. There's no major red lines. I mean, this is, I'm just recapping stuff because now I get a second to look at stuff. We should probably get this a little more of this snapback move now. All right, what was the dot plot? Sorry, it's hard for me to talk, and it's not. It's a little more challenging to do this when you're. Hold on. Wow. All right. We got more dot plots ratcheting higher. But we're holding, you see here. So far we're holding. Now this is watching for the snapback move. 20 minutes till the press conference, going to start watching for the snapback move. Could not flush the bottom area out. Even if we come back down here, going to be watching for a bottoming setup play in here. Because it could not flush. You tried to flush it out. We tried to take some stops and they were absorbed. Buyers stepping in. And we're still, again, keep everything in mind. Look, we're still in this major support zone. Remember, established over the last 3 days. Buyers, buyers, buyers. So far, still buyers. The only thing now is if Powell says something that's taken absurdly hawkish to try another flush move. Other than that, it's still buying this area. And if you look back over here, this is where don't get caught on a refresh your stuff. It's occasionally helpful to pop back to other things. Because remember, from back at the end of June, beginning of July, you have a ton of buying pressure in this area. We're in that same area. 3 days prior buying pressure. We tried to run it down, broke yesterday's low, and buyers, it could not decisively break it yet. You're welcome. Thank you, Sterling. Swaps indicate 4.6 terminal rate. So the market's discounting, the market's just, again, we don't have anything major yet. Now, I'm going to watch also on this counter move. What do you think I'm going to watch for? Let me take off some of that. I'm trying to show as much as possible. We get this counter move. I'm going to use my harmonics again. And I'm watching in this area. And you got to watch if you're trying to more aggressively trade futures, you got to watch your trading dome and watch the buying pressure, selling pressure, how quickly stuff's changing, the order flow. If there's orders in there absorbing a lot, there's a lot to do if you're trying to trade these, and I'll call it the micro time frames. During high volatility, it's not just watching a chart and going, There's other inputs. Like right now, where we got some absorbing, but you're still getting some selling pressure. We're still getting this buying pressure. See how interesting this area is. Okay, this is how you're putting together the tools. And I'm not advising most people to trade on these time frames. All right, this is very challenging. And way too often people use way too tight stops. It's now easier to use too tight stop. It's easier now to use tighter stops. Now we're getting some orders taking stuff out, but still no key close below this area. If we do close below this area, I'm just watching for a return to these lows, and then we'll have a nice potential reversal trade set up. Unless we can take this out with momentum. Close right at that damn 62.5. So now I have, hold on. Thank you, Panveet, for the super chat. So would love to get added to Discord chat. Have you signed up for the Discord member, Panveet? Did you do that? So now we're targeting the return to the 87.5 to 100. And then the only play to the upside then, now we have a nice key area. Now we have a nice key area for the press conference. We're now putting some more selling pressure on here. See, it's still, we got the buying pressure in here. We got that 87.5 return, but now we have, I'm just putting these up as a placeholder for right now. Look at the start. Look at the symmetry of the market. Look at the prior harmonic area and the breakdown area coming in the same point. So now, and you don't need to wait for, if you're trying to trade this quickly, especially during the press conference, this would not be an area to wait. I would not be waiting for a major close above that area. But now it's a reversal of the sell-off candle. But based off this, everything's now going to key off of in the next 14 minutes for the press conference if this does not trigger beforehand. Let me peek in at some other stuff real quick. Dollar is plowing higher. Remember, we already had the dollar. Remember, after we closed back above the 62.5, we targeted, and I already had my stuff flipped on here. Now we're reacting at the next harmonic level, which we already had identified this morning. The next target is 111.56. So this would be the first area to raise a trailing stop. Remember, after we closed above the 62.5 from a few days ago, we hit that 87.5 to 100 area, raised the stops. You had the little sideways correction with the rising daily rotation zone. We identified the levels. That would be the stop raise. Does that make sense? I'm just going to cover some other stuff in here for a second. The VIX. This is actually sort of a surprising move, but what is this telling? Why is it? Okay, there we go. Unless the VIX, and I'm still going to be watching for the daily close, but unless we get back below at 29.85, I can't get into more aggressive bullish mode. If we start taking out this other setup and start dropping the VIX, that's delayed too. So I got to look at my trading platform. This does not invalidate it. You got the buying pressure still at these lows. Now I'm way behind on my news. Let's just check out some other stuff. Looked at the VIX. Let's glance at the euro. Glance at the yield curve. All right. So now we broke down there. So next targets are that 98 and 97.40 area. Those are the next key targets that I'm going for in the euro. Bitcoin pulling back a bit, tried to rally with the markets, but And unless we can really get the NASDAQ. Now NASDAQ down a full 100 basis points, popping off that. The notes. No, just missing that 113.08. I'll have to look at the shorter term price action with the notes. But there's just nothing I'd step in front of with that. Let's peek at the yield curve. I'll catch up with comments in a second. I'm just trying to get my head around what's... Ooh. Wow. Where's our 10-year yield? That's not as sticky as I thought. Still stuck at that harmonic. But that yield curve is ugly. So we have no steepening yet. We had our little steepening. The double is still, that's what we're watching, but there is no steepening yet. So there is a lot of pressure on the short end of the curve with the 2-year. The 2-year up nearly 300 basis point. Look at that move in the 2-year. Market's really taking the Fed seriously at this point. They're starting to really take it seriously. Thanks for punching in this other stuff. I'm sorry I didn't get to stuff. If you're enjoying the show, the boring show. Thank you for the super chat, Patrick. Thanks for everybody for contributing to the channel, because this is a little challenging and it makes it much harder to do things. Hey, Amit. Now you have the key. From my perspective, going into the press conference, we've slowed down. We have our key levels now. And we see this 38.38 from the level on the charts before. Remember, this was a target zone, and we didn't break below the bottom of it, and that's held so far. So that was a decent target zone. That's why it's handy to have the levels on. We lowered our level to 38.57. And now, but that's not the level I'm going to use going into the press conference. That's minor. I'm still going to be watching about 38.59, 38.60, that old level. But the key level for me is this 38.67. Because we start getting above there, anybody who shorted in the last, well, let's just get down to that 1 minute. Anybody who shorted essentially for, unless you shorted the first minute of the bar, you get above this area, you're stuck. So this is where it's handy to think about stuff. What do you mean, what the heck was that market flip? What, this? You have to give me more specific. You have to cite a time frame. If put it in like as meaning at what time, what do you mean market flip? This is just a so far a consolidation move. But I want you to think about psychologically. Let's say you didn't get short right here or got short and didn't remember we got down to this target area. If you didn't take something off and at least bank part of your position, if you're still trying to ride this short and you get above these areas and you've ridden it and so far it didn't break, what are you going to be forced? Well, you're not forced to do anything. What are you most likely going to do if we break back up above here? You're going to cover. Hey, I was short. We couldn't break down. We tested it a couple times. So we took out some of these key areas. If you want to be a little more patient, you can go to 38.71. This would be the exact double bottom. Yes, it is a valid reversal pattern. So you're going to be covering up at that, which will reaccelerate the momentum. If we get momentum to the upside, does that mean we're going to skyrocket up 2%? Not at this point, unless Powell gets really, really dovish. You're still caught in consolidation mode, and we actually have a fair amount of overhead resistance. A run back up here would take us back potentially to 3,900 and back in the midpoint of the last buying pressure. So I want you to think about things psychologically where people would be trapped. Now, if Powell comes out hawkish and we start getting him another momentum breakdown play, there's new short opportunities. Why? Because still the people who's short or whose stops are still below, because you're not going to put your stops for the most part right at these dueling lows. You're going to give it a little room with a thing, but you get much below here, especially below now what we've established. There's going to be now additional selling pressure, and everybody who tried to buy the dip is now stuck if we roll over again with Powell hawkish comments, especially more hawkish comments. Does that make sense? So we have our new ranges established. The last 10 minutes, Paul, that was all the last 10 minutes. What's this? This is just, it tried to break down and it went into key support still. And now you have a fair amount of buying pressure in here. You still have buying pressure. Remember, there wasn't much shocking with that. All right, we did a 75 basis point hike. The more thing was the pressure, the dot plot pressure to the upside. That was the only thing that we got some additional selling pressure, but there was nothing earth-shaking in this. The short end of the curve is taking it much more seriously now because we saw a lot more compression on the short end of the curve. You know, this is just natural. This is natural trading the FOMC price action. So just to recap, you got the move, the push below. It actually closed right at the 62.5 right here. But then where do we focus? You got the 87.5, 87.5 held nicely. Remember, it had to get back below the 75 to set up a potential double bottom. You're now getting the buying pressure coming into. It's a little, the liquidity's a little thin going into the presser now. So that's where we sit. That's where we sit. Now I'm more geared towards watching the snapback move. Again, we might not have one move. I'm gonna have to. I want to pay attention to this presser too, and I'm gonna have to be even more nimble during the presser because you can get multiple moves depending on what Powell says over the next while. It's not just a one-shot deal. Pay attention. What other stuff will I be watching for with the presser along with just pure price action? If they announce more quantitative tightening moves, or if they announce that they're going to unwind stuff faster, or not just let stuff roll off, if they're going to sell anything, that would be very hawkish. Okay, which then we could see a break lower. If it's just the status quo, I'll be watching for that snapback move. And you know what? I am not advising most people trade this kind of market. There's always another trade. This is not for most people to trade. It's why I'm not calling out trades. I don't want people to try to trade this. You're better to learn and to use this and to watch the price action, because there's better trades for most people. But there's nothing. Now we got the press conference going to roll out. So I'm going to wrap this. There's no way I can pay attention to a press conference and do live stream and everything at the same time. Just, I told you what to watch for or to listen for. I told you the key levels. You start breaking back below this 38.37. You could do a quick, again, I'm not giving trading advice, but I just then watch for a quick little retest of this low area to try to unwind a little bit and get stops to break even. And then we break down below this 38.28, watch for the lower prices. If we, and this is, if then we, you see the reaction on that 5 minute too. But you start getting back above this 38.67. The break-even area already set up 38.84. Also the breakdown zone. So that's aggressively raise a stop. And then I'd be pretty much watching for the return to 3,900. Above 3,900. Above 3,900, I would, since we're going into a clear path, we did this little prior double top. This would be another, this channel line, decreasing channel line would be another stop raise. And then a key area would be 39.26. You see even on this 1 hour, it's why it's handy to zoom out. You see buying pressure, buying pressure, buying pressure, buying pressure. We still got buying pressure. If we do break below 38.28, the target, my next target area is 38.10 to about 38.05. With that, I am going to wrap it up. I hope this helped people. Another day trading lesson in the life of the quick and the dead. Yeah. So that's where I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks, Lauren. I will be back after the close and we will recap then. It looks like we're rolling possibly down again. Thank you for all the super chats. I will talk to everybody. Is that a Head and Shoulders mini? No, this is not a shoulder. And this would be a dual head. No, it's not. This could be turning into a more of a horizontal channel, so I will bring the levels down a bit. But we're getting some selling pressure going into the presser, so I'm going to have to jump now. But nothing really gets me until we get below about this 38.37, 38, yeah, about 38.37. Talk to everyone there. Bye for now.